I see you, the mighty hunter. Only what you're hunting ain't an animal or a man. It's something different. Maybe something more than human. But what's this? I see a man in a white outfit standing over your prey, and he says something. It's hard to make out, but I'm trying, kid. He says Z247, initialize factory reset, authorization code Zeta 53 Kilo. And then he falls, and he's still.
In our last episode, we found the former Institute scientist named Virgil in the glowing sea. He was surprised that we knew that the only way in and out of the Institute was teleportation, and he confirmed that we were right. There's no other way in. He agreed to help us get inside the Institute if we agreed to retrieve some information from his former lab while we're inside that's going to allow him to cure his super mutant syndrome. But wait, why does the Institute have information on how to cure FEV? And what was the Institute doing experimenting with FEV? At any rate, we agreed, and Virgil hatched a plan. The Institute has assassins and couriers called coursers who regularly visit the Commonwealth. To get in and out, they have a chip inside their heads that allows them to teleport. If we want to teleport, we need this chip. And so we need to track down an Institute courser. Virgil told us that the Institute's teleportation frequencies can be picked up by our Pip-Boy radio. So if we want to find a signal, we need to head to the ruins of the Commonwealth Institute of Technology, which presumably is what the Institute was before the bombs dropped, and crack open our Pip-Boy radio. After walking for what seems like hours out of the glowing sea, the air finally began to clear. We can take a moment to see what Codsworth has to say about everything we just learned.
Your thoughts?
I do hope these coursers aren't as dangerous as they say. I'm quite fond of my limbs. And living. Let's not forget that.
The ruins of the C.I.T. is in Cambridge. We passed through Cambridge on our way to Diamond City. That's where the Cambridge police station was, where we met Paladin Dance. To get there from the direction of Diamond City, we take the southernmost bridge north across the river. Along the way, we find the wreckage of the USS Riptide, which doesn't have any lore, but it's fun to explore. It probably deserves its own video. Here we find raiders, one of whom is wearing some raider power armor. We can walk away with a bunch of loot, an end-of-dungeon steamer trunk, and even a Perk magazine. But continuing across the bridge, we immediately turn right, and after a short walk, we arrive at the C.I.T. ruins. There is scaffolding erected outside the ruins, as if the Institute tried to repair its walls just after the bombs dropped before giving up and going underground. The C.I.T. ruins look big, but it's actually kind of small. We can go inside the ruins, but there's not much for us there. There is an epic battle playing on between super mutants and synths inside. The synths might give us a hint as to the proximity of these ruins to the actual Institute. But once they're dead, exploring the place doesn't reveal much. There's plenty of scrap strewn about, a couple of skeletons, one end-of-dungeon steamer trunk in an interesting position, but no magazines or bobbleheads. There is rooftop access, and climbing up we get a great view And of course, as we already know, there's no way from inside the ruins to get below ground to where the Institute is today. But from here, we can activate our radio, whereupon we find a new signal, a coarser signal. Listening to it, we begin to hear low beeps. The signal strength is about 12%, so it looks like we need to walk around a bit until it gets stronger. Walking deeper into the ruins of C.I.T, it does get stronger, but not by much. Walking back southeast, it gets weaker again. But then as we go due east, it gets stronger faster. Okay, so it's somewhere in this direction. Rounding the ruins, we find a raider camp blocking our path. Already, the coarser signal strength is at 35%. We need to fight through these raiders to continue forward, but we find the ground littered with mines. We need to tread carefully and disarm some of these. We see a little raider town built behind a scrap wall. Looks like there's a door in this scrap wall that we could try to get through. There's a giant green building off in the distance, and as we look towards it, our signal strength goes up to 46%. We're nearly halfway there. Well, there's nothing for it. We need to run in here and get rid of some raiders.
Oh, now it's on.
Pain, you know. Cut that out!
After clearing the raider compound, we can loot the dead, disarm even more frag mines, and then continue east, whereupon the signal gets stronger still. We're now at around 70%, and it gets stronger the further east we move. Soon we discover Greenetech Genetics, and standing outside the door to this skyscraper, our coarser signal strength gets into the 90s. I think we've found our destination. There's a courser in this building. Now that we know this, we can turn off the signal so the beeping doesn't drive us crazy and open the door. We arrive in a ruined lobby. Moving forward, we find a body draped over a reception desk and another draped over a balcony above. These are the bodies of gunners. The Gunners are a mercenary faction here in the Commonwealth. We haven't bumped into them yet, but these are the guys that pushed Preston Gaaaryyy and the settlers out of Quincy. So we kind of have a beef with these guys on the behalf of our friends. Looting this lobby area, we find very little scrap. We can't get to the balcony above from the lobby as the staircase is ruined. However, we do find a door in the northern wall. Scaling it all the way to the top, we arrive on the balcony, and creeping forward.
The courser's on the second floor. Kill on sight. Send reinforcements to the lobby in case there are more.
The gunners are communicating through the building's pre-war PA system, and it sounds like they're gonna send some more gunners down here. We begin to find some armor upgrades on these dead bodies, because the gunners are better armored than raiders, and the only humanoids we have fought during the main quest up until now have primarily been raiders. We see two doors leading to another room, bathed in sunlight, and moving that way, Yo! Okay, they've seen me!
Oh no, I'm not done with you. Not even...
Looks like there's at least one turret in that room. But first, the gunners. All right, the room is clear. We see that the gunners have jury-rigged some sort of turret system with a bunch of red cabling in this room, but then we hear a rocket launcher. Looking up, we see that the commotion is coming from a window on a floor above us. The gunners are fighting something, and they're not fighting us. It's gotta be the courser. After a while, the sounds of battle dies down, but then another turret finds us. After looting the bodies, we can explore this vaulted room. We see an elevator against the northern wall, but it's not active. We gotta find a way to power this up. Heading downstairs to this ground floor, we find trees growing in pots, an edotronic on the ground with rotten food inside, and on one of the gunner bodies, we find a dirty army helmet. All right, at last, I can wear a piece of headgear. And it looks good on Nate. He should feel comfortable wearing it, as he spent a good portion of his life in the army. After exploring this ground floor, we catch the attention of turrets that were on the other side.
That's that then.
They couldn't see us very well because these walkways were in the way, but I think that's all of them. Knock on wood. In the southeastern corner of this room, we find a first aid kit on a pushcart right next to a terminal. Greenetech Genetics. We find 3 options. In the first, materials gathered. Objective, gather material and ready for transport to HQ. Status, currently in the process of separating the last bunch of material tossed down to the lobby. Remarks, still plenty of material to gather. Should notify HQ regarding the quantity they're looking for so we don't overdo it. Overdue. Whoops, he spelled that wrong. And the next one, defenses. In the short time we've occupied the building, we've managed to set up first-tier defenses in the lobby and first floor of the courtyard. We've installed 3 turrets and hooked them up to the terminal. The men are in the process of setting up turrets to cover the courtyard sky bridges. They should be ready for operation any day now. Well, it looks like they got this set up, for we found them active when we arrived, and in the last one, we find turret control. All of the red wires in the courtyard lead to this terminal, and from here we can deactivate any remaining turrets. We see the scrap that the gunners were talking about on the terminal, huge sheets of metal, most of which is rusted, lies on the ground in the middle of the courtyard. So the gunners came here for scrap and resources. Looks like they're building an HQ out there somewhere, or fortifying it. I wonder if we'll ever be able to find it. With the bottom of the courtyard explored, we can take the staircase back up to the elevator level and cross the sky bridge towards the only door. Oh! Alright, we just deactivated that turret. Okay, no need to destroy it.
What's going on down there? How many are we dealing with?
Alright, looks like they know we're here, but they don't know our affiliation. As far as they're concerned, we might be with this courser. Turning left first, we pass the turret, and we find a door in the northern wall. This just leads to a pre-war office room. We find a body on the ground and little else. So heading back to the hallway, we can follow it north. The hallway continues to the north, but we find another office to the left. Here we've got more gunner corpses we can loot, and a few containers, but that's it. So back to the hallway, we follow it north until it turns a corner.
What's all this then?
Cautiously...
That it? Oh, fine then.
Stepping forward, we loot the bodies. We see a staircase going up to the right, but these gunners came out a door to the left. Heading through the door, we see another office space. This one has a Nuka-Cola cherry on the ground next to an enamel bucket, a little bit of scrap, with an ammo canister and a novice-locked chem cooler on a table. Back to the hallway, we can take the stairs.
The courser is now on the 3rd floor. Report to the second intruder in the east wing near the courtyard.
Oh, great. That means they're gonna come running. Sure enough.
What the heck?
Alright, Codsworth, I love how you just race into battle there, but you kinda get in my way. I wish I could give him a gun or something. Oh.
Takes care of that.
We find 2 bathrooms here. In the women's, we can loot the bodies. We find a skeleton next to a toilet with a plunger in it and pre-war money. She was trying to plunge money down the toilet when the bombs dropped. Perhaps Greenetech Genetics finances weren't kosher. In another stall, we find some mentats on the tank. Out of this one, we can go to the other one. In one stall, we find a telephone on a toilet and a Y block on the ground. It isn't until we open the next stall that we see the significance of this Y block, for here on the ground are 3 more blocks. G-A-R. Y. G-A-R-Y. Gaaaryyy? Gaaaryyy. Oh, Gaaaryyy. Though the sole survivor shouldn't be too freaked out about this. He's never been to Vault 108, though the lone wanderer might be disappointed to learn that some of the Gaaaryyy clones escaped. Out of the bathroom, we return to the hallway. We see the staircase blocked up with furniture, and the hallway is blocked up with furniture. So we gotta go into this room to the right.
Hey. I'm on him.
Ooh, Codsworth, you okay there, bud? Looks like he got hit hard, but I don't think we're done yet. Oh, hey, he's awake. Hop up anytime, bud. There we go, he's okay. Took it like a champ. Well, the other gunners are hiding, so we can explore this back nook real quick. We just find scrap. Moving forward, we can flush the gunners out. On a table between 2 couches, we find a Perk magazine.
Bingo.
Massachusetts Surgical Journal. Pay now, get better later. Insurance scandal sweeps medical industry. Permanently inflict 2% limb damage.
Taking the brain out for a stroll?
Yes, Codsworth, with my brain legs. Moving forward, we still see red ticks on our Pip-Boy radar. We'll loot these bodies cautiously. There's a break in the wall to the left, right next to a door in the wall to the left. Peering through the door, we don't see any enemies yet. We can finish looting this area. We find 1 pre-war skeleton next to a filing cabinet, and that's it. So moving back to the doorway. Aha!
He's up ahead!
Stepping through the door.
Barricade stairwells and hallways if you haven't already.
While the other gunners were ahead of him, we found these hallways already barricaded. Peering through the window, we see that we are in that room where we saw and heard the fighting coming from earlier. It was in this hallway that the gunners met the courser. Stepping back to the door, we see the hallway continues to the south, but there's a little broom closet here. Not much in here, but a toolbox. So moving down the hallway, whoop, we see a Tesla trap on the ceiling, but it appears to already have been triggered. Yeah, we can't loot the microfusion cells from it. At the end of this hall is a ramp that leads up to the next floor, but there's a room to the right. Moving into the room first, we find more office cubicles. Here we just find containers that we can search for scrap. There's 1 Nuka-Cola on a desk and a bowling pin on another. That's about it. So out of the cubicles, we can return to the hallway and move up the ramp. Whoa! The gunners are fighting the courser at the other end of that sky bridge. After the noise dies down, we can climb the ramp. There is a door in the wall to the left, but a terminal just on the other side. We see a red wire leading from the courtyard to this terminal. I bet we can deactivate some turrets from this. Oh, the window opens automatically. Quickly we can access the terminal, but we find that it's locked with a novice lock. After hacking it, we see that it's another turret defense system. There are 2 turrets connected to this terminal, so we can go ahead and deactivate them. But moving towards the sky bridge, gunners on a sky bridge on a level above us are shooting down at us. We can let Codsworth lure him out. Oh, Codsworth! Oh, they took him out real fast. Poor guy. But we got him. And Codsworth is back on his feet. Good robot. All right, I think we're clear. Moving across the sky bridge. We find chunks of gunner along the way. We arrive in a room with a chemistry station. We can loot the bodies and then search for scrap. We don't find much. So moving north, we see this room rounds a bend, leading to a break room.
We've lost contact with sectors 2 and 4.
There is a door directly behind us. That's our way out. Looting the break room first, we can turn off a radio and then loot a first aid kit on the wall. Then, opening the door, we arrive in yet another hallway. The left is a dead end. There's a path to the right and a door directly in front of us that leads to a restricted area. Unauthorized persons keep out. And sure enough, the door is locked with a novice lock. But we can pick this sucker, and inside we find gunners that are already dead. I guess the courser went into this room, killed them, left the room, closed the door, and locked it behind him. That's the only explanation. There's some scrap here and an explosives box that's rigged with a makeshift bomb. We can disarm that, then loot the box. We can peer through these windows to see Cambridge. It's a beautiful day outside. Lots of big skyscrapers to admire. We can loot some frag mines here.
Moments like this make me thankful I've no settings for nausea.
I guess he said that because of the dismembered gunner corpses on the floor. And then we find a novice-locked toolbox on this cabinet with scrap inside. Moving out of the restricted room, we can head south down the hallway. Here we loot even more gunner corpses. God, did one courser do this? Holy heck. In the next room, we find a rubble ramp made from the ceiling of the floor above, and another gunner corpse without a head peering down into this room. Moving up the ramp.
What the?
Oh, why did I do that? Direct hit.
With finer form than that.
With these gunners dead, we can get to the top of the ramp, where we find more.
Gunners incoming!
This room appears to be a communications room of sorts. We find computers and consoles all over the place, but not a lot to loot. It leads to a hallway through a door to the south. There are vending machines to the right, but we can turn left to loot the bodies of the gunners we killed from the ramp. Here we find an ammo box on a chair, and behind a wall, we see a door that leads to another room. Alright, well, I'm not sure where that goes. We'll connect the dots later. Turning back around, we can move west towards the vending machine. Inside the vending machine is a Nuka-Cola Quantum and a Nuka-Cola Cherry. Then we can open a door in the northern wall to find a long hallway. Moving down the hallway, we see another door leading to the courtyard to the left. And another novice lock terminal connected with more red wires. Hacking the terminal, sure enough, we've got turret control. We see 2 turrets connected and we can deactivate them. Before moving to the courtyard, we can finish looting this section. There's nothing in this nook, so turning around, we can go down this eastern hallway. We find a room with a green door to the left, and inside is a Jangles the Moon Monkey with plasma cartridges at his feet. In the next room, we find toys and cigarettes. Gosh, these Greenetech Genetics guys were having fun in here. With an ammo box in a cabinet behind us. Back to the hallway, we move east to finish exploring it. There's a nook to the left. It's empty, but for scrap. Continuing east, we find another office to the left. And here we find some missiles with a stealth boy on a table. On the next table is some buff out, and then we find more scrap. Back out to the hallway, it rounds a corner and leads back to that door we saw. Ooh. And it was booby-trapped. There's a pulse mine on the ground. This connects to the room that had the rubble ramp, so we've connected the dots. Heading back to the terminal by the courtyard, we can peer in to look for danger. And sure enough,
Fall back to original position. The course is nearing the elevator.
it's above us this time. We are nearing the top of Greenetech Genetics, and it looks like the courser is fighting them on the top floor. We never see any targets, so we can't join in the fight. But then we see movement. Oh, the fight's coming to us! Moving to the end of the walkway, we turn right. Oh, but the path is blocked. Hunkering down with the laser rifle, we can try to pick him off.
Not this time, it's a challenge! Nice try!
Okay, think that's it. We find a missile launcher on the ground here. We can snag this just in case. And then back into the hallway, we see the path to the left is blocked, so turning right, we pass by this furniture barricade and move into the room to the left. We see a chalkboard here with an interesting scene. There are 3 chalk X's and 3 bullet holes with what appears to be old blood dripping down the wall. Someone, decades ago, perhaps longer than that, executed 3 people against this wall, but their bodies are gone. After looting these cubicles for scrap, we arrive through a broken wall on the other side of that furniture barricade. We see the hallway continues to the east, but we find another office room here. Peering into the office, we don't see any enemies, so we can safely explore it. There are even more toys on these computer terminals. The guys at Greenetech Genetics must have just been smoking and playing all day. We find more gunner corpses draped over furniture. And on one computer terminal, we see another interesting scene. 2 toy blocks, an 8-ball, and some silverware. I ate you with a knife and a fork. Is that Gaaaryyy? Did a Gaaaryyy clone eat somebody? The rest of these cubicles are empty, so moving through a door to the south, we arrive at the other end of that hallway. There is some furniture here, but there's no way forward. To move forward, we need to go through this broken wall to the south. It's here where we saw more gunfire between the gunners and the courser. But he's far above us now. Sounds like the gunners have their hands full.
The courser's after the girl. Anyone alive needs to get up to the top floor immediately. That's an order.
After the girl? Oh no, do we got a civilian here? Oh, that's gonna complicate things. We find an Overdue Book on a table on this balcony. We can snag that to get some free money at the Boston Public Library. Then heading up a staircase to the east, we follow it all the way up to the next floor. Here we find that the staircase continues up, but there's a laser tripwire in the way, and it's connected to a fragmentation grenade bouquet. We can disable the laser tripwire, then loot the grenades. But before moving up, I want to finish exploring this floor first. At the end of this hallway, we can peer through a window to see a crack in the floor above, but we don't see any movement up there, though it looks like there is a door. And this hallway has a dead end, so our only way forward is to go up at the top of the stairs. We move down another long hallway to arrive in a big room with red carpet and more gunners.
Come out and face us, scallywag, if you dare!
We triggered a Tesla trap there, and I think that's it for this room. Before moving in, we can head down a rebel ramp where we find a gunner corpse and a novice-locked explosives box. Inside, of course, we find more explosives. Back up the ramp, we can move into the red room. We see computers and consoles, paper scattered all over the floor, and more red wires connecting to another novice-locked terminal. And here we can access spotlight control, tripwire control, and turret control. In spotlight control, we see 2 connected spotlights. We can go ahead and activate those. I guess they're already deactivated. I wonder what activating them will do. Then into tripwire control, we can activate these as well because they're already disabled. Backing out of this, we can access turret control. We see 1 connected turret, and we can disable it. Now I'm thinking this white door is our way out, so before we go in there, we can move to the west where we see another door that's locked with an advanced lock. I couldn't pick this, but if we could, inside we find a storage room with an ammo box, a first aid kit, and a novice-locked terminal right next to a wall safe. Hacking the terminal, we find all the same entries we saw in the last terminal with 1 extra, safe control. We can disengage the lock on the safe, and inside we find a bunch of ammunition. But again, as I said, I couldn't loot any of that. So moving away from this storage room, we can open the white door. To find gunners,
Let's rock!
Away! That's it. What's all this? I was just getting warmed up.
there is a turret in this corner, but it's not hostile because we deactivated it.
Picking up hostile light signs. Nothing like a little dust up to get the oil flowing, eh?
The gunner's dead. We can try to loot. We don't find much until we get to the northeastern corner where we find a storage room. Inside is a novice-locked toolbox with scrap inside. That's it for this bottom floor, so we can take the stairs. On this landing, we can loot the bodies of the gunners we killed, and we find an elevator that works. But before we go in the elevator, we can continue climbing these stairs to find 2 rooms on either side. One room is filled with mannequin parts and a bunch of scrap. And the spotlights are shining on us. These are the ones that we turned on using the terminal. They keep beeping, but there are no other consequences, so not exactly sure why we would want to turn them on. In the next room, we find scrap and a traffic cone. Nothing else of interest. So, to move forward, we can head to the elevator and take it up to the top floor. We arrive at the end of a long hallway. Spotlights bathe the ground in the room ahead. Moving forward, we find a master-locked terminal, but I can't hack this, so using a silenced 10mm, we'll take out those spotlights. If we could hack this, inside we find security door control. This allows us to open a nearby security door so we can loot the room. Inside we find 2 fusion cores on a computer console, but since I couldn't hack it, I won't take any of this. There is a scientist's skeleton on the ground next to the terminal, and a bunch of computer bays to the right and to the left. Exploring each of these individually, we don't turn up much. And so to move forward, we open a white door in the northern wall. This leads to a staircase with an advanced locked door on the ground to the left. Right next to it is an advanced locked terminal. I couldn't hack or pick either of these. But if I could, in the terminal, we find door control, and in the room, we find mentats, another fusion core, 3 vials of Radax, and scrap. Back to the hallway. We take the stairs up. We see another pre-war skeleton on this landing, and continuing to the top floor, we arrive on a balcony overlooking the staircase and another door leading to a brightly lit circular room. Stepping forward,
I don't know the password. I'm telling the truth.
I don't believe you are.
Oh, God. Please, no.
All he had to do was tell me the password. Now, are you going to cooperate?
Oh, God.
Tell
Oh,
me.
God. Okay. Just don't shoot. Let me think.
I'm going to get in there. It's just a matter of time. Tell me the password.
Look, I already told you I don't have it. I'll help you find a way in. But listen, we took the girl fair and square. All we want is a little compensation in return.
You are in no position to negotiate.
Okay. It's just... let me think.
Time's running out.
No, please! Wait,
he's trying to get a password from them. But a password to what? Exploring this room, we find a door against the southern wall, but before heading through it, we can access this novice lock terminal to the right. Hacking it allows us to open a security door to the right that lets us loot this side section, but all we find is 1 ammo box and 1 first aid kit. There's a similar story on the opposite end of this room, another novice lock terminal, with some mentats on a desk to the right. Hacking the terminal, we can disengage the lock, open the door, and explore this nook. Inside is a novice lock toolbox with scrap inside and mentats. Then we find more mentats in one of these console drawers. But that's it for this security room. Heading through the big double doors, we arrive at the bottom of a staircase. There is another pre-war skeleton amongst the rubble, another in one of these bins, and across from him is a bathroom with beer bottles in the toilet. In the middle of the room, we find 2 staircases, one through this door to the north. Climbing this staircase first, we find a balcony overlooking the other staircase. On the balcony is a desk with a terminal, and on the desk is a cap stash. But we can't go any further this way. So back down the staircase, we can return to the room and climb the stairs in the middle of the room. At the top of the stairs is a Nuka-Cola machine with 1 Nuka-Cola inside. There's a nook with a door leading to a room that has a blasted out safe with antifreeze inside and rat poison on top. Continuing up the staircase, we arrive at the top floor, and a voice calls out to us.
You, come here.
Oh, it's the Courser. He wants to chat. Okay, well, in a minute, guy. I'm still looting here. There's a door round the corner here, and inside we find more scrap, light bulbs and cigar boxes and stuff. All right, well, looks like we gotta head inside.
You've been following me.
Oh, he's coming out. Oh, he's coming right towards me. We can back away.
You, come here.
We can keep backing away.
Get over here.
Oh, he just really wants to chat. We can keep backing away. And yeah, he'll follow us throughout the entire building if we let him. Well, I don't think I want to have a conversation on a staircase, so trying again, we can burst into the room.
Are you here for the synth?
If we walk away from the conversation, he attacks.
Taking pops at us, eh? Solid!
And we could try to kill him with that missile launcher we found on the floor below. But the blast from the missile launcher knocked him down a floor. We gotta go chase him down now. Wow, we knocked him down several floors. He's walking around down there. We can try to take him out.
Picking up hostile.
But that's not ideal. Maybe there's a way we can talk to him. Maybe he can just give us the Courser chip.
Are you here for the synth?
What synth? That's not why I'm here.
I'm here to pick up an order. 2 large pepperoni and a calzone. Name is Fuck You.
If you're not here for the synth, then you're here for me. What do you want?
Yeah, I'm here to help the synth.
And you think I'll just hand her over to you? You've been tracking me. What do you really want?
And just who is this synth anyway?
A fugitive. Runaway Institute property. I'm shutting her down and bringing her back. You, on the other hand, will die like the rest of them.
And he attacks. Or
We're on a need-to-know basis here. And you don't need to know.
Suit yourself. You'll die like the rest of them.
and he attacks. Or
I need what's in your head.
That you cannot have.
and he attacks. Or
I'm here to kill you and take what's inside your head.
That you cannot have.
and he attacks. Z247 is a powerful enemy. I fought him many times trying to shoot this video. I found that the best way was to disarm him. Pulling out a machete, we can hack at his limbs until he drops his gun. And suddenly he is far less formidable. Eventually, his stealth boy powers down, and he's got to pull out another one. And while he does, we can use VATS to end him.
At least try to give us a challenge!
But that's the violent way to end him. There is another way. But in order to do this, we need to cast our mind back to what Mama Murphy said. What was it she said before we left for Greenetech Genetics?
He says Z247, initialize factory reset, authorization code Zeta 53 Kilo.
If and only if we got this prophecy from Mama Murphy, we find a new dialogue option when talking to the Courser to say,
Z247 initialize factory reset. Authorization code Zeta 53 Kilo.
How did you?
and he collapses to the ground. On his body is a Courser chip. And we also find a Courser uniform. This uniform takes up every armor slot, but provides significant bonuses. 30 ballistic damage resist, 15 energy damage resist, and 15 radiation resistance. It also gives us 1 endurance and 1 perception. It's a pretty good jacket and compares well to Kellogg's outfit. Kellogg's outfit has more energy resistance at 30, but it has no radiation resistance and it doesn't give us any special stats. The Courser jacket looks amazing. It's the same thing that we saw the Courser wearing in Kellogg's Memories. Looks like all Coursers working for the Institute wear this same tech. Now it's possible that we can get up here fast enough so that the Courser doesn't have time to execute the gunners. If we do, we find the gunners alive. We could kill them.
Are you here for the synth?
If we do and the Courser is still alive, he doesn't react, and there appears to be no consequences for killing them. Or we could try to talk to him.
I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Get away from me.
And they don't really say much. But while we're exploring this room, a voice calls out to us.
Help me.
We find a woman in a locked room, and we can speak to her through the shutters.
He deserved to die. I know you're not here for me, but I can't get out. Not on my own. I'm going to have to trust you to help me.
Relax, lady. It's gonna be fine. I promise not to hurt you. If you knew me, you'd probably think otherwise.
I guess I don't really have a choice, do I?
Who are you?
We'll talk once you open the door. I promise I won't run. The guard put the password in a toolbox over there under the stairs. Use it to gain access to the terminal and open the door.
Moving to the staircase, like she said, we find a red toolbox, and inside is the Greenetech Genetics password. Heading to the terminal, we can now open it, and from here we can turn a nearby elevator on and open the security door. Doing both, the door opens and the synth walks out. This is K198.
Thank you. I don't know what to say.
Don't say anything. Just get out of here. Who are you? You don't have to say anything. You're welcome. Oh, you must not have heard. I'm a superhero. I do this for a living.
My institute designation is K198, but I prefer Jenny. So yes, I'm a synth, if you hadn't already guessed. I knew they'd send a courser. I just didn't think he'd find me so fast. I think I would have lost him too. But then I was captured by these mercenaries. And all this happened. Thanks again for your help. I'm gonna look for supplies before heading out. And before you ask, no, I don't need any more help. The Commonwealth is unforgiving. I need to make it on my own or I'm dead. Maybe we'll meet again, under better circumstances. I hope we do.
So this is a Gen 3 synth who was trying to escape the Institute. So not all synths that the Institute makes are weapons. They're not all coursers. They're not all spies designed to replace humans in the Commonwealth. This one talks, looks, and acts like a human. She's even given herself a human name, Jenny. After the conversation, she runs over to these orange cabinets and begins to poke around at them. She doesn't say much if we try to talk to her.
Thanks again for your help. I'm gonna look for supplies before heading out.
We could kill her.
I trust everyone's still alive.
She goes down easy, and oddly enough, Codsworth has no reaction to us straight up murdering her here. But there's another way this could go down. If, before the courser fight, we race into the room, access the red toolbox, loot the password, and then unlock the security door, Z2 thanks us.
What have you done?
Thank you. Now, if you could just give me a moment. K198, your little adventure is over. It's time to go home.
Oh, please. You don't have to do this.
Relax. You won't feel a thing. K198. Recall code.
I'm begging you,
Stratus.
don't do this.
He walks into the room and uses the recall code to deactivate K198. And sure enough, on her body, we find a synth component. She really was a synth. But from here on out, we have the same conversation with the Courser. There's no way to walk away from this encounter with the Courser still alive. No matter what choices we made, we now have a Courser chip and maybe a new synth friend. We can loot this room before leaving. Heading up a staircase, we find a fat man on an end of dungeon steamer trunk. Oh, wish I had known this was here. Inside the trunk is a bunch of ammo, caps, armor, and weapons. Turning around, we see the staircase leads to a door. Here we find a terminal that we can use to unlock this door. This door leads us outside to Cambridge. We arrive on the roof. Here we find a scientist skeleton next to an ammo box. We've got a great view of Boston, but there's nothing up here. If we were in power armor, this would be a short jump out, so we could be on our way. And if we weren't encumbered, we could fast travel. But instead, we'll head back inside. Before taking the elevator, we can talk to Codsworth to see if he has any wisdom to share about the Courser chip.
Your thoughts?
Sir, please be sure to exercise a bit of wisdom when it comes to handing over that chip. I can't imagine the harm it could wrought if placed in the wrong hands.
Then we can access the elevator that we activated and take it back down to the ground floor. We come out that elevator door that was previously powered down. And from here we can leave Greenetech Genetics. Now that we've got the Courser chip, we need to find somebody who can tinker with it. Virgil can't do anything. He's a super mutant. His thumbs are too big. He won't be able to finagle it. The only person we know who might be able to do something with this is Dr. Amari back at the memory den. We'll head back to the memory den and hand her the Courser chip in my next episode. I publish new Fallout episodes each and every week on my channel, so if you don't want to miss it, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have already, but you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My designs come on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes, and in a wide array of colors. You can find them on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. YouTube members get little badges that appear next to their names in the comment sections of my videos and access to ox emojis that they can use in my video comments and in the live chats of my live streams. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with the next episode and the full story of Fallout 4.
Terrific! It's a fight then! I was just... What's all this then? Peekaboo!